Hello and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Sr. And this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. Listen, I hope you guys are having a great day and you're making it great. I want to make sure I give a shout out to everyone out there that is listening pretty much all over the world. You guys really make my day every time you guys tune in and listen. And so I want to make sure that I always give you guys a big shout out, a big hello to everyone that I can. There's quite a few folks as we continue to grow, but you know, when you start something, you want to keep it going as best as you can. So if I don't call your city or your state, please know that is what's up and what's happening and how you're doing. And thank you for tuning in to the Ross Cloud Podcast. So listen, I like to start right here in North Carolina, where I'm from. Winston-Salem, North Carolina, to be exact. Trefo. Shout out to Charlotte, North Carolina. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. And Greensboro, the Gate City, over there in Raleigh and Durham and Chapel Hill. Boardman, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ross Cloud Podcast. It means a lot to me. I really do appreciate you guys. You guys really are just showing out, man. I tell you, I love it too. Keep on listening and keep on downloading over there in Brussels, Belgium, to my family over in Brussels, Belgium. I like to call you guys family too. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Bonjour to the French speaking folks over there, and hello to those over in those that speak Flemish and those that speak Dutch. Hello. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ross Cloud Podcast. It means a lot over there in Russia and Malaysia and India, and to my African brothers over there that are listening. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Ross Cloud Podcast. It really makes my day. To Portland. Got a brand new listener over there in Portland. Thank you guys for tuning in California and New Mexico and Texas and Louisiana, New Orleans. Hey, I sure appreciate y'all listening down there in New Orleans, down there in the NO. Right on. I thank you guys for tuning in and listening to it, brother. Means a lot, in case you didn't know. Great deal. Means a great deal to me, and I'm super elated and excited about it. So listen, we're going to go ahead and get right on into it. Listen, if I forgot your state or your town or your city, please don't hold it against me. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And, there's a topic that I've been wanting to talk to for a while. And that topic today is going to be loyalty. I know y'all have used that word. That word is thrown out so much nowadays, loyalty. So I'm going to read two types of definitions. The first one is the loyalty is a noun, the quality of being loyal, a strong feeling of support or allegiance. Loyalty. And then we have a different type of loyalty, and that's toxic loyalty. And that's when you are loyal to someone and defend them no matter how problematic and terrible they are. So when you think about those two definitions are pretty different. And maybe you find yourself in being loyal to a fault. But nonetheless, there's no judgment zone here. We're just here to try to help people become better, and that's loyalty. So I guess you could say the word we're going to talk about today is loyalty. I just wanted to give you the meaning of those two types of loyal. The word loyalty, excuse me. So there's a article that I read, and it's Real Leaders. It's in Real Leaders. It's a magazine, but oftentimes you get certain things come in your email or whatever. And a lot of the articles are very, very interesting. And I ran across this one while reading in the magazine Real Leaders. And I thought, well, hey, this is a great article. This article was written by a gentleman by the name of Will Mari. And I hope that I'm pronouncing his name correctly. But this is in the Real Leaders magazine. And the title of this article is Why Your Loyalty Might Be Killing You. A little different than, you think about the word loyal, being loyal, or loyalty. So why your loyalty might be killing you. Interesting, right? And it's by Will Mari. So it starts like this. Loyalty is, and I'm going to just read a portion of this article. There's no way I can read. I can read the whole thing to you, but I'm going to read a portion of it to you just so you can get the gist of his perspective on loyalty. And, when I was reading it, I was like, wow, that's so true in so many different ways. And there may be others that have a different perspective. But I'm going to read a portion of this article. All right. Loyalty is the most overvalued value. The plea for loyalty is almost always invoked when your loyalty is not deserved. When people demand your loyalty, what they're usually trying to do is escape accountability. I'm not saying loyalty has no value, but rather being loyal to people and organizations who do not keep their promises, maintain standards, play favorites, or exploit you is self-destructive. Being loyal to the undeserving is also bad for society because tolerating bad behavior actually condones it. Listen, I'm not saying loyalty has no value, but rather being loyal to people and organizations who do not keep their promises, maintain standards, play favorites, or exploit you is self-destructive. And yes, I repeated that. Yes, that was very repetitive, what you heard. So consider this. Would you be loyal to a group that constantly pressures you to do more and work harder regardless of its impact on your health and well-being? Rarely listen to your requests or acknowledges your efforts? Issues demands for greater goals and less time with fewer resources. Rewards other people primarily because they are aggressive and self-serving. Demands that you follow work processes that consistently create errors and require rework. Keeps you in a constant state of stress and uncertainty over job and income loss due to job consolidations, workflow automations, reorganizations, and potential mergers. I sincerely hope that this does not describe your work life, but it does for many of the employees of the companies where I consult. It wasn't always this way. It is entirely unnecessary. And even though it is abusive, we have come to expect and even accept it as an avoidable reality. It is called maladaptation. It means that we get used to things that we should not accept. We see it clearly in abusive family relationships. It happens because a spouse believes that loyalty is more virtuous than self-respect. Because of fear, we cling to loyalty as we reduce our expectations and throw away our standards. Unfortunately, our loyalty persists even if we end up in the hospital or others in our family are being abused. And the more we accept what should be unacceptable, the more our self-confidence, proactivity, and creative problem solving diminish until we think, I have no choice. Believing you have no choices is hitting rock bottom. It is easy to believe you have no choice when you're trapped in a work culture that is controlled by external forces that has no empathy for you as an individual, but rather sees you as a cog in their financially driven machine. The stresses and sacrifices you are expected to make are unlimited. One organization I know is currently requiring project teams to hold 90 conference calls 3 nights a week in order to achieve wildly unrealistic goals as they spend their days putting out fires that they create from making stupid decisions because they're so damn tired. Wow. You know, this course started several months ago as exceptional response to business emergencies. Now it is the way that managers are expected to work. Crazy has become normal. Let me repeat that again. Crazy has become normal. If you wonder why corporations are unhealthy places to work, I'll explain. The renowned Cooper Clinic in Dallas now estimates, listen to this, that 54% of people who work as business managers will die from stress-related diseases caused by their work life. That's quite a bit, y'all. And in ending, I'll read this last paragraph. The primary cause in Wall Street, and no, I am not a communist. That's pretty funny to me. I am a genuine capitalist who believes that the purpose of business is to improve the economic well-being and quality of life for all stakeholders. But that is not what Wall Street believes. It believes the purpose of business is to create wealth for stock traders. Notice I did not say investors. According to economist Michael Hudson, the average length of time a stock is now held is 22 seconds. This seems incredible, but he claims that due to computerized high-speed trading, the sheer volume of stock churn makes this possible. I got to keep reading, y'all. I hope you guys are getting something out of this because it's pretty interesting to hear other folks talk about loyalty and their thoughts about loyalty. And one of the key things that stuck out was the stress. 54% is a big number. It's a high number of people dying from stress-related, on-the-job stress-related things. And we see it happening across the world. Sometimes we get caught up in saying, well, I have this job, I'm doing this, I'm part of this organization, and you're really not happy. You're doing it for the sake of not looking bad or not looking disloyal or saying, hey, I quit before it was time. And you got all of these things rattling around in your head when it comes to loyalty. And, really, you should just take a step back. And this is from my perspective, and I'm only speaking from experience. You have to take a step back, and you really do have to figure out what's best for you. What is it that you want to do? Being loyalty to a fault can sometimes, I've said it before on different occasions, it can suffocate your ideas, your dreams. Some of the things that you want to really, really do, they're usually put on the back burner whenever you're serving others or being a part of an organization. There's this thing where you have to wait. And sometimes for yourself, waiting is not an option. I need to do it now. And you can find yourself in a bad way from being loyal to a fault. Now, listen, loyalty has its place. It does hold some value, but don't allow it to kill you and turn into toxic loyalty when it's not benefiting you at all, and you find yourself losing yourself in a situation. He spoke about the family dynamic, and you can find that happening in so many different types of relationships, whether it's family, whether it's business, whatever it is, girlfriend, boyfriend. Sometimes we can find ourselves being loyal to a fault. So just reconsider or think about it before you actually become too loyal to where you lose yourself. Because guess what? You too have value. There are things that you would like to do. And maybe you want to open up that nonprofit organization. Maybe you want to start that business. Maybe you just are tired of being tired, and you're ready to do something different. You're ready to change. And, that requires that you get away from those things that are not helping you, but more they're hurting you or hindering you or stopping you from becoming everything that God so desired for you to be. So I thought I would just read that article to you, and I hope you guys got something out of it. And in closing, I'd like to read a little bit of this as it pertains to being dehydrated, and then we're going to close out the show. So these are 7 signs you're secretively dehydrated, and that they don't have anything to do with thirst. And again, this is from an article that I read. I try to stay afloat, and I try to stay, current with some of the things that are being talked about. And in my reading, I'm like, well, hey, man, I'd share this with somebody else. I would love to share it with you all, because this is what this is all about. This is a resource, and these are things that I read in my private time to help me just become better, and maybe it can help you. So in me doing that, I thought, hey, man, I'll read this article that was written in Real Simple. It's a magazine as well, but you can go online and check it out. It's realsimple.com, and you can check it out. So here it is: 7 signs you're secretively dehydrated that have nothing to do with thirst. And so hopefully these 7 things can help you. Mental and physical signs of dehydration. And it may sound funny, but mental and physical signs of dehydration. Number 1, you have bad breath. Your breath stank, brother or sister. Woo, boy, to me that is funny. Okay, you got bad breath. You got bad breath. All right. Bad breath has many causes, including dehydration. And you may be asking yourself, well, why? Because saliva has antibacterial properties, and the creation of saliva requires water. When you're dehydrated, salivary productions goes down because your body has to do some hydration, triage, and divert fluids to its higher priority locations. So that's number 1. You have bad breath. Number 2, you feel hungry. You feel hungry. You feel hungry. First things first, it's very possible that you're actually hungry, in which case, please eat. But there are times when you feel peakish or notice cravings, often for salty foods, because you're really thirsty. And that's what Dr. Henry says. It's important to pay close attention to your body and learn the difference, not because you shouldn't be eating, but because your body is trying to tell you that it needs water. So number 2 is you feel hungry. And again, this is on realsimple.com. You can go back and read, more in detail if you like. I'm going to give you these few pointers though. Your head is pounding. You got a headache. It's number 3. There's no certain explanation for why headaches occur with dehydration. But experts have a few hunches. A working theory involves pain receptors in the brain that are attached to the meaning. Membrane layers that protect your brain and spinal cord. That's what meninges is. Meninges is. Membrane layers that protect your brain and spinal cord. Now listen, don't hold it against me. I probably said that wrong. But remember, membrane layers that protect your brain and spinal cord. And again, that's what Dr. Henry says. Being dehydrated can cause fluid to shift out of the brain, putting pressure on the membrane layers that protect your brain and spinal cord. Translation: that headache is possible clue that you've gone too long without water. So make sure you get plenty of water in your system so you'll be okay. Your focus is off. If you're having trouble focusing, this is number 4. If you're having trouble focusing, it may be wise to slug some water. Dehydration can lead to lack of the ability to focus, causing short-term challenges in performing tasks related to motor and visual skills. Dr. Henry says, even mild dehydration can cause cognitive issues, which is why she recommends setting alarms throughout the day to remind you to drink, which is cool. I have that app on mine. I have that app. There are plenty of apps out there that you can use, that you can download, that kind of keeps you on task when it comes to staying dehydrated. You're constipated. That means you can't boo-boo. Hey, it's right. You're constipated. I mean, you can't boo-boo. Constipation is the worst. It's defined as having less than 3 bowel movements per week. Wow. And it's common among Americans. Roughly 16 out of 100 adults have symptoms of constipation, according to the National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Disease. Wow. One of the culprits of constipation may be dehydration. Water aids in digestion. And Dr. Henry says, and in the end, is one of the most helpful keys to keep things moving and regular. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, think about the percentage that your body is made up of water, right? And if you ever want to hear something about how good water is for you, you can go back and look at some old clips on YouTube of Dick Gregory as he talks about water and how important it is to drink water, but more importantly, the type of water you should be drinking. You could do alkaline water is one, and it's good water. It's good for you. So I think that's a huge thing. Drink your water. Drink water, drink water, drink water. Number 6, you're grumpy. While lack of sleep is largely responsible for a negative mood, and we all know that feeling, haggard is definitely a thing. Dehydration can also play a role in spoiling your state of mind. Feeling cranky, impatient, or annoyed. Dehydration can cause neurological effects that lead to irritability. Dr. Henry says, so next time you snap at your partner or the kids, it may have less to do with their behavior and more to do with your need for water. Not drinking water is one of the worst things you can do when stressed. So drink your water, y'all. Your skin feels less elastic. While dry skin is not necessarily a direct sign of your hydration, level skin elasticity is. Have you ever pinched your hand to see if it snaps quickly back into place? If it doesn't, it turns out this is a pretty effective way to tell if you're dehydrated. To test, you can do it along with me right now to test. Use your 2 fingers to pinch your skin on the top of your hand, lower arm, or abdomen. If you're hydrated, it should tent up and release, snapping back into place immediately. That should happen when you're hydrated. Now, when you're dehydrated, on the other hand, your skin loosens some of that elasticity it needs to snap back immediately. Wow. So why don't you try that test now? Take your 2 fingers and pinch your skin on the top of your hand. That's your lower arm or your abdomen. And if you're hydrated, you should tent up and release, snapping back into place immediately. Now that should happen if you're hydrated. When you're dehydrated, on the other hand, your skin loosens your skin loses some of that elasticity, and it needs to snap back immediately. So do that quick test for yourself and see if you are dehydrated. Hopefully you're hydrated. So keep going, keep going, keep going. You know, a lot of experts suggest roughly half of your body weight in ounces. If you weigh 160 pounds, you should consume about 80 ounces of water. And you've probably heard the guideline to drink about 8 ounce glass. Heard the guideline to drink about 8 ounce glass of water a day. But there's no scientific evidence to conclude that the recommendations are the standard, be all and end all rule for every individual. So make sure you drink your water. Drink your water, drink your water, drink your water. Again, those tips, there's 7 tips, and they actually came out of an article. You can go to realsimple.com, and it's 7 signs you're secretively dehydrated that have nothing to do with thirst. So make sure you drink your water, drink plenty of water, and make sure you stay hydrated. So listen, I hope I have said something today that can help you become better. Loyalty and toxic loyalty. And again, do your own research. You know, you don't have to take my word for it. I believe in you going behind me and reading other things as well to find out your own perspective or through your own experiences about loyalty and toxic loyalty. And, you know, make sure you read up on a few things when it comes to staying dehydrated and hydrated. You know, some of you guys can probably elaborate a little bit more on it, but I wanted to read exactly what I search for, or in my quiet time, my downtime, I tend to read a lot of different articles out of different magazines. Of course, it's online. Again, those 2 places. One was realsimple.com. You can find that for the dehydration. And the other one, Real Leaders magazine, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back so I can tell you exactly. Yes, that's realleaders.com. And that article is why your loyalty might be killing you. So listen, as always, I love you guys. And I hope you guys have a great day and you continue to make it great. Remember, love yourself enough to detach yourself from those things that do not mean you any good. And make sure that we pray for those that are dealing with floods across this world, in our own in our own backyard. There are a few floods that have happened, and let's continue to pray for those that are still going through, that have been affected by gun violence in this beautiful country of ours, in this whole world, that are being affected by gun violence still and lost their child or children to gun violence. Let's keep those folks in prayer. And let's also keep Brittany Griner in prayer. Let's continue to pray for her in that situation. And let's continue to just keep loving each other. All right? Let's just keep loving each other and try to work things out with each other so this place can be a whole lot better for all of us. So listen, this is the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Scott Ross Sr. Peace.